It's been almost 4 years since I began exploring this area of woodland, and 2 since I made my permanent home here. No permission sought, none granted. Mother Nature is my landlady, and my rent was only to try to learn something from the abundant stillness of this place. To unplug from Avallon's incessant distractions and spend time deprogramming myself in every sense.
Take out the stories they put into your mind. Embrace for the glory as you stare into the sky. The sky beneath. I know you can be tired.
So, I'm currently in the middle of packing all of my things. Everything I brought into the woods in these past 2 years, not including construction materials in that, but all the possessions, they were all brought in here by bicycle, and that's the same way they're going out. And I've pretty much transported all of my tools already. A lot of them went today, and what I'm getting now is a lot of my clothes and just random bits and pieces that still have a use. I didn't bring a lot of stuff in it, I was ruthless when I moved out of town with what I kept. I only kept truly useful items, so there's not a lot of things that are going to be left behind, I'm not thinking about it too much, really. It's the right time. The time has come to be moving on, and I think it's one of those situations where I maybe won't realise the true value of the experience until I've had time to reflect on it after the experience is over. So that's how I'm looking at it. That's a sat-nav mount for a sat-nav I no longer own. So how do I feel about leaving this place? Basically a hole in the ground with a shed in it and a few tools, a few bits and pieces. How do I feel about leaving it, just abandoning it? Well, as far as I see it, this whole area is abandoned. Even though they call it a nature reserve, no one really cares about this area. I know people come here to enjoy it, to walk their dogs, but they don't spend any time here, really. They just walk through it and then leave. Like I say, I've spent the better part of 2 years here. I mean, it has literally been 2 years that I've called this place home. And when I first came out here, I did spend a lot of time walking in the woods and just sitting quietly, but the idea of calling it a nature reserve is it's wishful thinking, right? Because there's not a great deal of nature here, and I can testify to that, having spent so much time here. And I know a lot of the videos you see, I'm tearing around on my mountain bike, so you're not going to see a lot of nature anyway. But I came out here at the end of one winter, and I spent a lot of time walking around and cycling around, and then all through that summer I would spend a lot of time fasting and walking around and exploring the off-track stuff away from the main tracks. And I didn't see a lot of nature, really. Deer passed through here. I had a couple of run-ins with mice very early on. Every now and then I'll see a toad. Very rare, very rare. There's not a lot of nature here, not a lot of life, and it's not because I'm disturbing it. It's not through lack of being still and being quiet that I haven't seen it. It's just like a neglected area, like an abandoned area. What it really is, it's a commercial crop for timber, for these pine trees that grow here, this type of thing, right? And actually these three that make up basically the structure, this is what's supporting the 2x3, 2x4, whatever that is, and then that's in turn supporting all these. A lot of those I nicked out of these commercial timber stacks, right? They're only worth a few quid each to those guys, maybe not even that, and they're only going to get wood chipped anyway. That's what this area is really. It's a crop, it's just a field, but instead of being a field of oilseed rape or corn or wheat, it's just a field of pine trees. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's not very natural at all. There's nothing really out here that we haven't modified or perverted in some way. To call it nature is a bit of a stretch of the imagination once you've thought about it, really. Everything that we touch, we modify and we bend it to our will. And if humans disappeared tomorrow, of course the nature would come back. The farmers' fields would be overrun, they would soon be forests. You've got to remember, they call farmers the caretakers of the countryside. And they're all proud of, they've got these living hedgerows as opposed to fences, and I'm not knocking that, that's brilliant, but they do mow those hedges constantly. If they left those hedges, they would soon turn into thickets and they would begin to turn into forests. And you have to go a long way to find some true wilderness, some true nature, and the only way that you can have true nature, as far as I can tell, certainly in what we term the developed world, the only way that you can have true nature is if there's no commercial gain to be had from modifying or otherwise exploiting that area, that region. You have to go a long way to find that. But it's just the way it is. I accept it. I know what it is. I'm not complaining, really. But I guess what I'm doing is I'm making myself feel better about this prodigious act of littering, leaving this here. It's like there's not a lot of animals that are going to even see this, right? So I've got no problem. You know, and the thing about if it ever is discovered, it's most likely to be discovered by a hunter, because those guys go off piste. They go into the woods, they look for the sort of trails that the deer use, and they'll wait there. I guess this is how they operate. They wait somewhere where they've got a long shot, a clear shot, and they pop the deer as they come through the woods. And they're obviously going to report that to the rangers, and the rangers are going to come out of their centrally heated, air-conditioned, double-glazed office, drive out in their little car, get out and have a nose around and go, oh, tut-tut, you know, someone's been here destroying the nature. Again, my point is no one cares about this area. No one really cares, even the guys who are supposedly in the business of caring about this type of thing. I'm not saying that's the case with all of them, of course. I don't want to lump all of those types of people together, but you know, I came here because I had to get out of Avallon, right? I had to get out. It was this, or it was psychological help. This was the psychological help that I provided for myself. It was a release and it was an escape. So obviously the plan right now is to put the clothes I want to keep either into this pannier or into this kit bag with all this other stuff, and then I'm going to strap this mighty bag onto the back of my bike, obviously. And yeah, I think I've got to take more or less everything. I'm obviously coming back here one more time, and I'll probably spend one more night here. But what's going to happen, the way all my stuff is getting down to France, is Mum and Dad are coming down in the car, because my sister lives in Strasbourg at the moment. She's coming back. So the way it's going to work is my sister and her boyfriend are going to come over to Avallon, which is where I'm going to live. Mum and Dad are going to come down in the car with my stuff. We're all going to meet in Avallon, and basically my stuff will get out the car, my sister will get in the car, Mum and Dad and my sister will go back to England, and that's it then, the job's done. So this is where I sleep, and has been for months and months. This is it, ever since I abandoned the bedroom underneath the floor here. Two season sleeping bags, one inside the other, and I'm going to take both these bags on the trip, just because I know that I'll be prepared for any kind of cold then. So I'm ready for it to be over, this experience. I'm ready for the self-imposed hardship to be over, and something I'm already aware that I'm taking away from the experience is the appreciation for comfort, but awareness of how you become soft when you're too comfortable. And I think that was a big part of my drive to do something like this, because I knew that I could withstand physically and mentally a much less comfortable standard of living. And the place we're going to live in Avallon, I'm going to show it. Actually, I'm going to do a little update video and show it. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a really nice place. Even if I hadn't just been living in this kind of basically a permanent camping situation, and not a particularly comfortable permanent camping situation. Well, better than a tent, right? You know, anything, I would have appreciated anything. But no, it's really nice, the place we're going to live. It's a nice town in a nice part of France, and it's a very nice apartment too. That's staying there. The inflatable mat goes in that bag, and it will come along with the tent when I leave for good.